Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. We have one more big sales list here and it's an unusual one for us. We're doing RPGs. I don't want a big scripted intro on this one, I just want to say thank you and Merry Christmas to you all. The growth on the channel has been absolutely staggering and both me and Tom really appreciate it. If you like seeing new stuff like RPGs on the channel and you don't want me to throw you in the dungeon, hit that like button. We've mixed some absolute massive open world AAA games on this one with some titles I'm pretty sure you won't have ever heard of. In that true LT gaming style, so let's get into it. Dread Delusion, 46% off, €9.06. This is absolutely one of those LT Gaming secret handshake RPGs. An open world adventure across flying continents in a shattered, cursed world where you're bouncing between strange towns, occult secrets, nasty ruins, and a magic system that lets you lean into the weird. It's got that retro 3D vibe and that classic 2000s RPG spirit. It's not trying to be flashy, just trying to be deep, moody, and memorable. And yeah, look, if you've ever wanted a modern game that scratches some of that Morrowind era, go somewhere dangerous and see what happens energy, this is the one. But it stands on its own with choices matter questing, factions, smithing, alchemy upgrades, and plenty of alternate approaches beyond pure combat. An absolute hidden gem and one of my favourite RPGs of the last few years.
Avadon the Black Fortress, 60% discount, €3.99. Now, Avadon's a proper old school isometric party RPG from Spiderweb, where you play a hand of Avadon. These are your unofficial bunch, spies, enforcers, basically no one you ever want to see turning up at your door. And the reason it holds up is the same reason classics like Planescape or Fallout 1 or 2 still land. It's story first. UI mechanics are straightforward, and the challenge is in making your good decisions, not wrestling with the game. Combat is turn-based and strategic, so it's simple to learn but absolutely not easy. You gotta know your playbook, and then spend the rest of the game not trying to bottle it under the pressure. A great pick.
Encased, a sci-fi post-apocalyptic RPG. Flippin' hell, that's some name. Anyway, 90% off, €2.99. It's a tactical party-based sci-fi RPG set in an alt history 1970s, where a mysterious megastructure called the Dome is discovered in the desert. And once you're inside, you're basically trapped in this claustrophobic, hostile micro-world of factions, expeditions, and people trying to build a new society under impossible rules. You'll explore the wasteland, level up your character, and choose who you align with in a broken world. It's a great pick for the winter sale because it's basically really unknown. It's a pretty cool game. I enjoyed my time with it, especially if you're into games like Baldur's Gate and things like that. And it's incredibly cheap, so yeah, just go out and enjoy it.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition, 90% discount, €5.99. Another absolute favourite of mine back when BioWare were an actual menace in the scene. Playing Commander Shepard across the full trilogy here. Squad-based sci-fi RPG goodness where your choices carry you forward and your companions feel like proper people. The Legendary Edition is the modern just play it package. All 3 games plus all the DLC bundled in, and it's been remastered so it looks and runs far nicer than the originals. It's a great pick because dead simple. For £6 you get one of the best gaming space operas and in its most convenient form.
Cyclopean, the Great Abyss, 20% off, €7.80. This is a small-scale mechanics-driven CRPG roguelike with a super striking monochrome retro look, set down in the underworld of Lovecraft's Dreamlands. Both me and Tom own the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft, but he's far deeper into the stories than I am, and we find the subject matter fascinating. This one does that classic old-school trick where the worldview shifts. Top-down overworld, then first-person dungeon crawling when you're deep in the nasty stuff. And this one's definitely a challenge, but one of the most unique RPGs out there and it deserves more attention, so yeah, go and give it some of that.
Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader, 60% discount, €19.99. Now, what are the holidays without a little grim dark cheer? Oh yes, Rogue Trader is a proper old school CRPG set in the world we know and love, where you're running a dynasty, making big Imperium flavoured decisions and dragging your party of misfits through turn-based tactical scraps that reward cover, positioning and not getting too arrogant. It's a great pick in 25 because it's had time to mature. Big updates and expansions has smoothed the edges and added a lot more to chew on, so you're getting a deeper, more stable version of the game than it was at launch.
Elex II, 75% off, €12.49. Elex II is peak Piranha Bytes energy. Try saying that on a mic without getting a pop. A scrappy old school open world RPG where you're back on Magellan as Jax, trying to unite rival factions against a new threat called the Skyans. Look, the names are all a bit rubbish, but we'll go with it. It's a post-apocalyptic science fantasy mix, so you'll bounce between mad tech, mutants and weird magic, and the big movement toy here is that jetpack, which basically turns exploration into this constant little what's up there itch. Any game with a jetpack just reminds me of old school Tribes. What a game. If you're into sci-fi, this game can be a real surprise, and also check out the prequel.
Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, 30% discount, €30.79. So this game got me in with those proper Bethesda-ish vibes, first person, open world wandering, nicking everything that isn't nailed down, but it kept me hooked with its darker Arthurian twist, and a story that actually branches in some meaningful ways. I think it's a great time to jump into this one because they just had a big shot in the arm for the game with the Sanctuary of Saras expansion, this proper first full one, plus there's all these bonus DLC bits floating around as well, so you're not arriving late, you're arriving when there's more of Avalon to get lost into.
Burden of Command, 20% off, €19.60. This is one of those weird, in the best way, hybrids, a tactical leadership RPG that plays out like a small unit World War II wargame, but with an actual focus on people. You're a company captain in the US Army's 7th Infantry Regiment, the Cotton Ballers, and the core loop isn't just about moving counters and trading fire. It's building respect, trust and battlefield experience so your guys don't crack up when things get tough. It's a seriously strong Steam Winter pickup because it scratches that serious tactics itch while giving you an RPG at the same time. The game is basically asking, what kind of leader are you really? And as a result, it leans heavily into morale, psychology and hard-hitting choices as much as bullets. A very unique RPG for this list and exactly the type of game we love at LT Gaming.
Skald, Against the Black Priory, 50% discount, €7.49. Skald is a retro-style, party-based RPG that wears its old-school look proudly. Proper, chunky pixel art, but underneath it's got modern sense of pacing and storytelling. So you build a little crew, rolling it along with branching story beats, and you get into tactical turn-based combat, where your choices do matter because you can't just button mash your way out of trouble. It's a great pick because it's not just nostalgic, it's got that grim dark edge with some proper Lovecraftian horror built in. It keeps you wrong-footed but in the best way. At this price, it's an easy recommendation if you fancy a classic feeling CRPG that doesn't demand you sacrifice an entire month to it.
Assassin's Creed Origins Standard Edition, 90% off, €5.99. This is the moment Assassin's Creed leans hard into action RPG and drops you into ancient Egypt as Bayek, with that tour through history vibe that honestly fits LT Gaming way more than people give it credit for. It's still got stealth and assassinations, but it's also about roaming a massive open world, scrapping with soldiers, chasing gear upgrades and getting pulled into a proper origin story for the Brotherhood. And yeah, look, the Steam Winter sale value here is kind of stupid in the best way. $5.99 for such a massive game might even make the Ubisoft pain worth it. You're basically getting a huge historical sandbox for impulse buy money, especially if you've missed it up to this point or like me are actually playing through a lot of the Assassin's Creeds just for fun. And with its historical Egyptian vibe, although a little Hollywood, it definitely speaks to me. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed. So make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly and both me and Tom really appreciate it.
Divinity Original Sin 2, 75% discount, €11.24. This is Larian absolutely knocking it out the park. Turn-based CRPG set in this deep world where you either pick an origin character with your own story hooks or roll for your own, then solve quests however you fancy, including accidentally blowing up half the city because you spilled some oil. Combat is the real trick, elemental surfaces, height advantages and loads of skills. It rewards you being clever than just the raw strength of your character. And it's brilliant in co-op. Luke and I have had a proper laugh with it, because it's drop in, drop out, up to 4 players, even split screen if you want that old school chaos. It's great in 2025 because it still feels weirdly modern. You got tons of freedom, loads of replayability, workshop mods and even a game master mode if you fancy mixing it up. Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, 80% discount, €3.90. I'm not going to beat around the bush, BG2 is my all-time favourite RPG. You're dropped into this brilliant D&D epic. You kidnapped, poked, prodded and then sent out into a world that's basically wall to wall with quests, companions and unhinged fights. All driven by one of the best villains in the genre. And the Enhanced Edition is the cleanest way to play it now. You're getting Shadows of Am, Throne of Baal and Black Pits, all bundled with modern support like widescreen and a much better interface than we had back in the day. In 2025 for under £4, it's honestly absurd value. If you've never played it, you're in for a treat, and if you have, welcome back to losing an entire week of your holidays.
Erannorth Renaissance 30% off €13.65. This is basically a choose-your-own-adventure CRPG that leans hard into text-driven storytelling. I'm also a massive fan of this game, I really like this one. You make your own hero, build a party, and roam an open world. And that world moves and grows around you, which feels extremely immersive. When things kick off, combat switches to hex-based, turn-based fights, which will appeal to a lot of the wargamers on the channel. And outside of that, it's all about choices, faction vibes, and roleplay freedom, like hunt supernatural threats or, become a vampire. I might do that over Christmas just to add a little bit more flavour to the Christmas dinner. Although we better have all the curtains drawn in that situation. What on earth am I going on about? This is a great game, pick it up, support the developer, I really like it. I've played it a lot on Steam Deck as well, so yeah, just an awesome pickup overall.
The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered, 33% discount, €36.84. Now what is an RPG list without something Elder Scrolls? And honestly, this year I've been properly sinking back into Oblivion Remastered. It's the classic Cyrodiil sandbox, guild quest lines, dungeons, all those nonsense NPCs you know and love, but with stunning new visuals and a bunch of refined gameplay and UI features, so it feels far less 2006. And in 2025 it's a great pick because it is the complete package. You get the big story expansions like Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine bundled in, plus loads of extra little DLCs along the way, and it's getting post-launch updates as well. Basically, it's that same wonderfully daft adventure, with fewer excuses when a gang of mud crabs actually take you to school.
Fabled Lands 66% off €6.28. This is basically a classic gamebook series turned into a digital open world narrative RPG. Those wonderful game books of our youth. Me and Tom used to go to the bookstore and we'd always be excited to bring one home. The Legend of Zagor, Starship Traveller, and eventually the Fabled Lands series. So imagine choose your own adventure energy, but with a proper world map you can roam. There's quests to chase and a character you grow over time. Honestly, simply a great game, support the developer. I think he's added a lot to this game in DLC as well. It would be great to cover more titles like this in the future. I think there's a big crossover between RPGs and wargames and some of the strategy stuff we do on the channel. But anyway, Fabled Lands is a beautiful game book and a great digital adaptation.